Sports Fanatic Squad, welcome back. It's Coach Rafael here, and I want to do a little bit of like a basketball trivial, basketball facts video. Something came across my desk earlier this morning, and I kind of wanted to get into it a little bit about the mindset of a productive sports figure or athlete. And in my days of playing basketball and playing sports, particularly basketball, there was one guy, well, there's a few guys that I sort of idolized kind of late in my career. But one of the guys that I really kind of looked up to just because of his mindset was a guy by the name of Kevin Johnson. Kevin Johnson was a point guard and he played for the Phoenix Suns. And he was a tough little guy. And, just watching him out there on the court, he had what I sort of call a unconditional competitor mindset. Unconditional competitor mindset. And what I mean by that is the moment you step out on the court or you step out on the field or whatever sport you're playing, and keep in mind this is not just for basketball, this is for any sport, but an an unconditional competitor mindset would be something like when Kobe had the Mamba mentality, but this is a little different. An unconditional competitor mindset basically means that when you step on the floor in your basketball games, or you step on the field in whatever other sport you're playing, or whatever court you're playing on, the minute you step on the floor, you don't necessarily get intimidated by any of the other players on the other team. You know what I mean? There's this term that we use. It's called sizing a person up, where you look at the other team, maybe they're bigger, maybe they're faster, maybe they're stronger, and some of those things can get in your head where you start feeling fearful of that team, and you don't actually go out and have your best performance. So an unconditional competitor basically develops this mindset from the amount of practice time that they put in on their craft. So what you'll start to see is if you put in the majority of work on developing your skill set and your craft in whatever sport, you put in the hours, you put in the hard work, at some point or the other, your brain will start to feed or lean towards you putting in all the hard work, which, and I'm going to use a sort of a strong word here, supersedes the level of competition that you play. It's more of an internal thing that you develop, over time. So if you're really pushing yourself and really going hard and giving it your best in every single practice and every single workout and even in every single game, your very best, I think over time you'll start to increase a threshold as far as expectations go in your brain. And once you get those expectations for yourself to a very high standard, in my opinion, that will supersede any competitor, whether it's a one-on-one type of deal or it's a team sport. But because you put in the amount of work, it'll tend to supersede the level of competition you play. Meaning, the amount of work I put in to get better at whatever sport I'm playing, all that hard work, I would be highly frustrated with myself if I allow this team to come in and not allow me to have my best performance. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. It all starts with hard work, folks. It all starts with hard work. And I'll give you another example. I had one player who we would do a lot with game tape. They would record their games, and then I would watch their games. And then the next time I saw them, we would kind of go through X's and O's and point out things on their game tape that they can do better at. And the first thing that I noticed about this particular player's game tape is that they would have really great performances against teams that were smaller than them and teams that seem a little less athletic. But when it came to bigger players and stronger players, this particular player that I coached, they would not have their best performance. You know what I mean? And I would have numerous talks with this particular player, and it was one practice where I nipped it in the bud. I told this player, You just treat everybody the same out there. And I use the term, you want to have your best performance against every single player out there on the court. Don't look at this player and say, well, they're really big and let them intimidate you. Don't look at this player and say, well, they're really strong and you get intimidated. You basically just want to go out there and have the best performance regardless of the height, the speed, or the athleticism of whatever particular player. And so we worked and we worked and we worked physically to where this particular player, personal standards began to supersede the level of competition out there on the court. So if they had 20 points in a particular game, and I said, that's a pretty good job, you went out there and scored 20 points, they would tell me that no, my goal was 30 points that game. I didn't hit my goal. You see what I'm saying? So those personal goals and those personal thresholds, if you keep working and working hard and push yourself and elevate your threshold of performance, it doesn't matter who you play out there on the court, because you've already set a standard internally. You know what I mean? And if you don't hit that goal every game, other people might say you did a really good job, but internally you will know that you didn't live up to your personal expectations. And that's the bottom line of this story, folks, is set personal goals and personal expectations for yourself. You see what I'm saying? Set personal goals and personal expectations for yourself. And set those personal goals and expectations in sports at a pretty high level where you have to keep working to get to it. And by the time you start having good performances game after game after game after game, regardless of how athletic the opposing team is, or regardless how talented the opposing team is, then you've made it. And just continue to do the same thing each and every time. That particular player went on, and after high school, they got recruited to college. And after college, they hired an agent. And after they hired an agent, they end up playing basketball overseas. So I tell you this for a reason, folks. Set personal goals for yourself and set high expectations for yourself versus the competition that you're going to be playing against. That's Coach Rafael signing off.